All right, we're very excited to be joined by Kevin Hanson, head coach of UBC, former national team junior coaches. He's been involved all over the country with a bunch of different stuff, so we're very excited to have him. Thank you for joining us, Kev.
Thanks for having me on, Anthony.
So let's go back to the beginning. When did you get started with basketball? How did it get into your life, and where'd you grow up?
Born in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, actually. So I'm a Saskatchewan Rough Rider fan, diehard CFL fan. Ron Lancaster, George Reed, the two outstanding CFL guys. Still love watching that. Born there, interesting story. I moved to Moose Jaw, and my first taste of basketball was in grade 3. Intramural program. Yeah, and think about our elementary school had 4 outdoor hockey rinks. So we were playing hockey until 11 o'clock at night, sweeping the floors. Like just typical Saskatchewan story. And my body was probably better designed for hockey than it was for basketball. And probably my mind too. First intramural practice I went to, 7 a.m. in the morning before school starts. I go there and coach is telling, it was my first life lesson about basketball and coaching lesson. The guy says to me, and it was a grade 7 coaching lesson, remember. And the guy's yelling at us going, 3 seconds in the key, just some basic rules. 3 seconds in the key, you can't stand in there longer than 3 seconds, da-da-da-da. Well, so we're playing, and everything's fine, and then I go back. We're down on defensive end, and I'm not guarding my guy because I'm scared about going into the key for 3 seconds. So the point I learned very early in my life is what coaches say, players will take it verbatim, and they think that if you're not clear, it's your fault. It's not the player's fault. So I sat there, and obviously I wasn't a very good defensive guy. That sort of set the tone for my career. I wouldn't go in the key for 3 seconds on defense. So. But sort of fell in love with the game then, and young age, and did all that stuff. Fast forward, moved to Kelowna. Didn't have an intramurals program. It was just we were busing to school, Okanagan Mission, and then it was grade 8 first start. Moved to Siakam Secondary. Got involved in all the sports. Of course, back then it was you were the rugby team, you were the soccer team, you were the football team, you were everything. And got into the basketball and just sort of fell in love with it, and it was a unique sport. I'm going to break it into segments because I don't want to have a little monologue here for you, but so I'll let you just jump in and ask questions. But
no, this is good. This is what we want. Go ahead.
Okay, and then the first taste I ever had. So the grade 8 basketball was awesome, and as I said, the buddies, the camaraderie we had together. Started grade 10 and moved up to the senior team. Sort of lost that connection with my buddies. Grade 9 and 10, the junior boys squad, but made new friends and got a chance to start my grade 10 year, which was awesome. Coach gave me a chance to play, which was really good. And in grade 11, a guy named Don Berger, Mitch Berger, who was kicker with Pittsburgh Steelers, won a Super Bowl with them. Actually, his father started a mini basketball league, kind of like you, real entrepreneurial guy. And what they did is he had North Delta every Saturday. And what he did is he actually physically built with plywood, built these rims, because back in the day, there were 10-foot rims. He didn't have lower rims. He didn't have ones that you could scroll down. And so he built these. So we'd have to climb up on the standards. There's no harnesses. There's no real ladders. You're just jumping, climbing, and hanging these things, and then tying them with a rope. And so he was the first guy that got kids coming in here. And what he did an awesome job. He had the grade 12s from the local senior schools were the head coaches, and the grade 11s, and I was grade 11 at the time, we were assistant coaches. And you have a half-hour practice and then a half-hour game. And I thought for coaching development, it was awesome. And that's where I really felt the first reward of coaching kids and having this experience. I thought it was it was a guy that just had a structure, had a plan in place, like he was the first kind of the club thing coming in and just how to keep kids interested in it. And yet still coaching development, I thought was outstanding. And that's really where I got my first test. And the head coach was Chris Terrace, a buddy of mine who's Ed Terrace. Actually, there's a scholarship award at Basketball BC in his name, longtime coach and educator. And that's where I got my real flavor. And then grade 12 had a good, successful year, and then was recruited to go to UBC. And I went there. Peter Mullins, had lunch with him, and Bob Malinsky. Peter Mullins was just leaving. Bob Malinsky was coming in as the new coach. I remember sitting down, and about 15 minutes into the lunch, Peter Mullins says, "Well, so you have your French, don't you?" And I go, No, I don't have French. And that was sort of the end of the conversation with me. There's a couple of recruits there. So ended up, Duncan McCallum recruited me to go to Langara and play. So I went to Langara for 2 years. First year, we lost the national championship final by one. We had Cord Clemens, 7-footer, who eventually played with the national team. Some long-time friends with that squad. That was outstanding. For me, from a social standpoint, academic standpoint, basketball-wise, I mean, I was a 6'1", 190-pound power forward. I played 2 through 5 positions in high school. And all of a sudden, I'm telling you got to be a point guard. I'm going, haven't really brought ball before. So it took me a few months to really get in there. And actually, a guy named Mike Miller blew his ACL at the start of the school year, and that gave me a chance to start. And then I started ever since. So 2 years there, then went to UBC, was recruited to go to UBC. And by there was a couple of coaches at the time. Mike McNeil was the assistant coach, and it was Bill Edwards was the head coach at the time. He was a high school teacher, but they were in transition as a program, as a school, and got to there. And then my 5th year, my last year, was Bruce Enns' first year. So I got a chance to play my senior years with J.D. Jackson, Alon, Mike Clark, Aaron Point, Big E from Big E TV, and it was great. And again, we lost the national championship final that last year to Brandon by 8. We had beaten them at Christmas time earlier on, and then that was sort of my playing career. Back then, the internet wasn't real big. It was like hadn't really started, and guys weren't really going to play overseas unless you're on the national level team. And then that was the start of my coaching opportunity.
So while you're playing, who was like the first coach that actually like we all had somebody who like really believed in us and was kind of like, no, you got it, kid. Just follow these steps. You're gonna be okay.
I think at that time, the Siakam, the school, it was a brand new school. So my grade 8 year was the first year it opened. So we were the first grad class to go all the way through the 5 years. And I think they had a young coaching staff. And I thought that was awesome. I mean, we didn't know any better other than the high school teachers were the guys who were coaching. So they were there all the time. They were putting time in. I mean, I remember Bill Stebbings, my high school coach, actually just passed away 3 weeks ago. Real sad. And too young, but there's a guy that opened up the gym for us. I remember at lunchtime before school, just gave us opportunities and really got that, for someone to give you a chance, see something in you. I'm in grade 10, just a raw kid and playing all these different sports. And he just took a chance on me and actually gave me an opportunity to start. So he showed that belief in me. It was young and socially, that's a big age group. We had a lot of grade 12s that year as well. And here comes a young kid coming in and the jealousies of the older guys, and so you go through a lot of challenges. You got to be a strong person to fight through that. But for me, in the end, it was the right thing to do basketball wise. And so he really, to the day, just cherish that relationship of what your high school coaches did for us. And you understand it now more. I think every coach you've had, during the time, you take it for granted. They're supposed to be the leader and they're supposed to do all this stuff. And you don't really, I think I understand it way better now at 56 than I ever did then growing up and playing. And you cherish those relationships an awful lot more now later in life.
Totally. And for me, I had 2 grade 7, when I was in elementary school, Chris Sumner and a guy named Fabio Battisti, fully whack jobs. But because they were so crazy, they got us in the gym. They opened doors. They took us to go play games. They drove us out to the agronome during class. Like our grade 7 teacher was like, hey, we're shutting down school today. And he literally just took us to agronome to go watch the games. And it's like, without guys like that, your whole life might be different. You know what I mean? Like it could have changed everything. And so it's important to kind of remember those things. And I'm glad you have such a specific memory about those because it's important.
Completely. And there was Sig Kuhn was another guy that he coached me in grade 9 junior boys. And I remember he's another guy that just cared about us. And it kind of hurt me. And indeed later on in life, I'm going, gee, I wish, and I kind of owed it to him. I felt to stay in grade 12 or grade 10 and play with them. So that I know there was a bit of an arm wrestle going to move, whether and you face these decisions all the time too. And you've seen it, is whether you move them up into grade, to the senior team or keep them down into the junior, to have that success. And, I always have the philosophy, my recommendation to people, if they're in the top top 7, then I think you move them up into the senior if they're going to get playing time. If they're not getting playing time, keep them down, because I still think players need to learn how to win and learn how to hate to lose. And I think that the psychological stuff, the cognitive side of the game, all that is very, very important. It's just not whether you can go up there and play; it's whether you can go up there and compete and perform. I think those championships and that winning culture is very, very important for any program at any level.
Absolutely. And the other thing is, we're going to talk about that getting up into play. So I actually am a fan of the college league. I think it's a good thing for kids to find an opportunity where they can get some minutes and get that leadership opportunity. You talked about going to Langara for a couple of years. You talked about right off the top, you guys are going to the national final. Getting that experience of playing in an intense atmosphere and playing at a high level and the ball being in your hands, I'd imagine that had a huge impact on your career once you got to UBC.
Yeah, in the grade 11 year, we ended up, and back in the day, it was only single A and double A. So we had actually gone up and to Penticton, and we were in Merritt, actually, was the BCs in grade 11 year. I think we were the number two seed going into it. We lost in the semifinals to Princeton, and I just remember the hurt and pain out of that. And then the next year, Bill Stebbings thought we were going to be good enough to compete, and we all wanted to play. And at the back in the day, it was the Agrodome, right? And so we wanted to go into that. We were ranked 3rd in the province at the time, and I remember we went in and we're playing Abbotsford, who had Jaggy Bogle was on it, an American kid named Chico Duncan was on it, a guy named Al Barker, 6'6", big 220-pound guy at the time. And I remember the first shot of the game, I took a 3, got undercut, rolled my ankle, and I just went, "Are you kidding me?" Here's the Fraser Valley Championships. You just got to win 2 games to get into the BCs in the Agrodome. And, first time Siakam would have gone to the double A's to the Agrodome. Rolled my ankle, and I just went, oh. So I get hobbled off. I get out, they tape it up as good as they could, and went back in, and we lost on the last second shot. Al Barker, still remember, 15 feet on the baseline, takes a jumper, not a great outside shooter. Boing, ball goes straight up above the backboard, horn goes, and the ball comes straight back down. Just heartbroken. Play the next day. So you still just have to win 2 games. So we end up beating Mission the next night by 5. Diego Marchesi played by 5, and then we lost again. And then I can't even remember who we played. All I know is we lost to Fraser Valley. It's just so heartbreaking. But we had a backdoor tournament. And guess where we got to go and play? Ken Dockendorf at their gym for a backdoor winner goes to the championships. We went in there. My ankle I was up at Simon Fraser getting treatment for it. The thing was black and blue, and just I could hardly walk. But there was no grade 12. You got to play. We taped it up and went there, and I just remember Ken's team as if you ever saw them play, super, super aggressive, tough, physical, in your face defensively. Holy cow, we didn't know what hit us. It was a bear hitting us in the face, and we got attacked and hit. We got beat up, and that was the end of, so to this day, it still hurts me that I never got a chance to play in that high school tournament. And I think that drive, I didn't really, I still haven't gotten over it. We still talk about it, and every year you go to those BCs and you see what an incredible event and product that is. And the BC Boys Tournament, that is the best high school provincial tournament in the country. We've gone to a lot of them in recruiting over the years for UBC. Some of them, they're held in the high school gyms in different parts. The semifinals in Alberta are held in 2 different gyms at the same time. Well, you're not drawing that culture and to limited. So, the time and effort that BC Boys High School Association puts together, that tournament and what they've done for that is absolutely amazing. I hope it stays, and it's a big part of what we do, and we need it to be successful for our sport in the province.
So you finish playing, you decide what you graduate with. What was the plan there? Did you originally think coaching was for you, or were you thinking something else?
Like a lot of people, I think when you're 18 and you go to post-secondary institution, you don't really have a whole lot of direction. It's kind of even going to school for a while. So I stayed in school and I played. My life really unfolded with basketball. It was crazy how the basketball god sort of just guided me. My life was steered towards it. So going to UBC, and then we played and finished with a Bachelor of PE at the time. Now it's the kinesiology program. Then I needed to go one more year of school. So I stayed there, finished, and then I went and helped Don McCallum asked me to go back and be an assistant coach at Langara. So my career went back. So I started helping out them. Then then I got a phone call from Stan Stewartson asking, hey, we've got an opening. Got a full-time coaching position. Jay Triano is the #1 assistant, but he's with the national program. We need somebody to come in. Would you be interested? So it didn't take me long to go. That was the first coaching gig. Remember, $28,000 a year. And I thought that was a whole lot of cash coming out of university. So I said, great, coaching, why not? So I went to SFU. Jay and I were the 2 assistant coaches working with Stan Stewartson. Had some great guys, great memories.
Sorry, they paid you $28,000 as an assistant coach back then?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. There you go. I'll take that.
As the second assistant coach.
Wow. I don't think they pay their second assistant that much now.
Stan is a negotiator, right? He had gone to Lauren Davies and said, hey, I want to have a second guy. Jay's with the national team. And they were grooming Jay. And so Stan, he actually came back to coach. And that was one of the stipulations. I get 2 assistant coaches. So it was great. So Jay and I did a lot of work. And Jay was gone quite a bit and still training and playing. And I knew that it was his gig. And they made that was straight up from the get-go. And then at the end of the year, Stan retired. And then Jay took over, but they wanted to make sure that there was someone older in place to there. So the deal was they lost one of the assistant coaches position, my position, and then they wanted to have somebody, more veteran coach in there to help Jay out along the ropes. And so that was Stu Graham got the full-time assistant. He was teaching at the time, and they went into that. And so then I went back to Langara to help for the year, and then Bruce Enns asked me. So Langara said, "Hey, why don't if you start doing your master's degree, you can come back. We'll get you a teaching job." And I said, well, "That's kind of a cool thing to do." Didn't really have a whole lot on. Loved the coaching aspect of it. Went back to UBC, and then Bruce Enns. So I started my master's at UBC in coaching science and with emphasis in sports psychology. And then Bruce Enns asked me to coach, so I helped him coach for a year. And then when Dunk retired, he said, "Hey, Kevin, you want the job here?" So I was teaching at Langara and also coaching at Langara. So started to coach there. It lasted 9 years as a head coach. Went to the national championship 7 years. Won a couple of national championships with Randy Noor and Aaron Mitchell, Jamie Wee, a whole bunch of guys that are still involved in basketball, running different programs and things. And so there 9 years. And then when time came, job opened up at UBC. Bruce Enns had retired and pursued that job. I remember it was an awful lot of guys. There was a whole lot of people that applied for that job. Some of the big names in the province, and very, very fortunate to get it. But so I followed my basketball career. Went from Siakam to Langara to UBC, back to Langara, back to UBC, and of course just finished my 20th year. And I'll point out that I did meet when I was up at SFU. I actually met my wife, Teresa, was assistant coach with Allison McNeil up there, and it was Dale Durgasoff who had played in Trail at the time. Dad was a principal, and he said, "Hey, here comes this girl from Trail, really nice family person. You should meet her." I remember walking in. There's Allison and Teresa in the meeting. We weren't allowed up there. You weren't allowed to date anybody, but it sort of made the challenge a little bit more exciting. And needless to say, that's where we met. So through basketball and through sport, it's my life has been basketball for a long, long time, since grade 3, since I learned what 3 seconds in the key meant.
Well, what I've learned from these interviews that I've been doing, and I've been interviewing a lot of people, is the journey's like this, and it goes all over the place. And you're another example that's exactly how it happens. You just got to be prepared, and you got to be ready. And then you're another example that getting educated and constantly adding more things to your resume, whether it's a master's, whether it's becoming a teacher at a university, whatever it is, it makes a huge difference. Let's go back to the Langara team real quick. So when you started Langara, you're the boss, you got the team. What's it like kind of putting your imprint in there? And what were some of the things you remember learning real quick? Oh, wait a second here. Maybe I got to try something different. Or did it just come naturally? And I know you guys were very good, but what was that process like?
I tell you, you learn real fast. There's no full-time assistant coaches. You are a one-person show. And I tell people, if you can coach in that league, you can coach anywhere. You have to fundraise, you have to recruit, you have to do everything. it's bare bones. I mean, the budgets are. I mean, you're going up to, at that time, CNC up in Prince George. You're bussing there. You're playing at 8:00 at night. Then the women play at 10. You're playing at noon, and you're back on the bus coming home. I mean, it is a tough town. I mean, that league was. I loved it back in the day. There was some great coaches in the league. It was a stepping stone for myself. And I when I got to UBC, I was recruiting a lot out of that league. I still think it's important. And I mean, there's some talented kids. And back then it was 3 years of eligibility, and then it went to 4, then eventually went to 5. I still think that the college, they should actually have the 1 or 2 years free eligibility. You don't lose eligibility to play, just as an incentive, similar to CEGEP back in Quebec, and just to entice kids to go there. But now, as you know, there's seven universities in BC. Back when I was playing, it was UVic, us, SFU, and that was it.
So you start winning. Talk about the first time you made it to nationals, and then the first time you won the thing.
I saw your other one of the other interviews you did, and it was we were talking about the under 19s and under 21s provincial team stuff. I was fortunate enough; I got an opportunity to coach a U19 team. In '97, we won the Canada Games gold. We played against Ontario. Aaron Olson, Kyle Russell were on the team. Aaron Olson went for 35 in the final against Ontario. Just a special performance. And we're in Brandon. It was the epitome. The whole game it was the last event. Just remember playing in front of this sold-out huge arena, and we won gold. And it was just and it was really representative of a lot of players from across the province. So that was that really got me excited, and it just went that this is something special, and I really loved coaching, sort of the national level stuff, and then, internationally. But we won in '97, we won the Canada Games gold, and then we won back-to-back national championships after that. Through that time, we went 75-5 overall, and that was losing to, we went to Hawaii, we lost to a military base, and so that was an incredibly talented group of guys. And guys that were there, that there just physically wasn't enough spots in the universities in the province here to really get the exposure to go. And it wasn't internet, we didn't have synergy, we didn't have the web, YouTube flashing out all the stuff for guys to go across the country. As it was, I think it was 5 or 6 of those guys went on to play university and all have great careers. Randy Knorr went off to win another 2 national championships at St. Obex, and James Maxime went there as well, and Aaron Mitchell went to Brandon, and it was you get that taste of the winning, and you just go, man, this is awesome. And then after that, when I got to UBC, I was fortunate enough to Jay Triano got the head coaching job with the national team. Brought me on we started working with the Nike All Canada camps, and over the course of the last 20 years, I've coached in 5 World University Games teams, which is, met some great loyal, and that's where I love the tactical and strategic part of the game. Sitting there and learning from, I remember going in, and we'd go and talk with the Serbian coaches and Croatian coaches, and just their different philosophies, and they've just got a different vision of the game. It was really interesting to just talk with them. Such an opportunity to learn, and you win a couple national championships, your ego gets a little big. You're thinking, boy, this is good. Like, I kind of know all my systems working and everything else. And then you go there and you see something that's unique and different. And I think that's the key. I think myself, I've always accepted that, once you stop learning, I think that then you've plateaued. I think you always have to, like, even during this pandemic time, there was a clinic where they had 50 sessions from across the country, and there was also a great European one. So a lot of these great European coaches were talking about things, and not just drills, but even conceptually what they're doing and what they're trying to achieve, and just spatial awareness. So I'm still learning the game, and I think that's what excites me about it. It's always something new, whether it's and people are changing a bit. The world certainly is changing. I think the game has completely evolved. We've been doing Zoom calls with our own team. I had Jama Maklalela, which is an alumni of ours, who's the Raptors 905 coach. He came on and talked to us about the style of play and kind of the Raptors philosophy. And then Jay came on. We had him on, he did an awesome presentation about the analytics of the state of the NBA and where shots are taken from and what people do in practice. And they tape certain spots down and take the percentage down of the efficiency of shots from different areas. So in practice, you're taking a pull-up jumper from there, and it's, the efficiency is not very good. Just picking up little keys like that, and just how the game is changing. To see how analytics has changed the game has really been a interesting thing to follow and to buy into.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's unbelievable, especially, with the court, the 3-point line further away in the CIS than it is in high school. And like you had a kid who was a sniper, but last year when he was down in the States, and then I saw him play this year with you guys. And at the beginning of the year, I could tell he was having a little trouble moving back a little bit. But as the season went on, he got used to it and he started hitting shots again, which was nice to see for sure. So you get to UBC. It's got to be a dream job. I mean, you get there, your first game, or you're coaching your first game of war. Who are you guys playing? What's that like looking around and seeing all these people in such a gigantic stadium in your first game from Langara, which fits 14 people? You got UBC, which is one of the biggest ones we have in the entire country.
I've always felt, and always said, UBC has been my home. Like you said, Langara, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in that little dungeon of a gym. But every gym's got its character. But when I walked into UBC, I remember the first day there, doing the interview, the press conference, walking down to center court, standing there, and the photographers were up top taking the shot, and I just went, just what a feeling. Even now, when I walk into that building, I sit down in a chair for early morning individual workouts, and I just go, what a special place to play. I mean, that building, I think it's an incredible place to play. People, it's packed. We've got a good following now. Numbers. It's certainly something we'd like to be selling that place out, packing it. But everybody in BC and everybody in Canada would like to. It's still special. I walk in and just go, it's a great place to play because everyone's on top of you there. The spotlight is there. It's got new lighting in there now, which is incredible. It's just when you're in an arena when you're there. And some great memories from the when in Canada West there in the football team, and people jumping over the stands railing and rushing the floor, just that feeling of being in there. And the acoustic, I mean, back in the day when I played there, the rims came down from the ceiling. I don't know if you remember that. So it was one of the most unique places because it didn't have standards. The backdrop was 60 feet behind, and just this backboard hanging there. And a lot of people didn't know it, but for years when they repainted the floor, the one end was about 6 inches closer to the free throws. So you had to back up 6 inches, otherwise you were long all the time. And so that opposing teams didn't shoot the ball very well in the hoop in front of our bench. But it's such a special place. It really is an incredible place to play. It's a great place to coach. It's a unique. I mean, back in the day, as you know, Ken Shields dropped off a picture for us, and it was when he was playing, I think it was 64, 65. The high school championships were held in War Memorial. And obviously they're way above the fire marshal's capacity for that building. And it was a photographer, and back then he had this shot, and he kept his foot in the picture. That was his claim to fame. He did half the gym this side and half here. He was on the baseline, and he took this photo. It's hanging in the office at War Memorial. Just how packed the stands were, and all on the floor. There was no room. I mean, it had to be about 6,000 people in that place, and it's supposed to hold 3. And just the atmosphere was just electric. And you sit there and go, can't we get that back? Just those high school championships. And, even now with I loved it when we hosted the national championships, when we hosted it out at Doug Mitchell Arena. I'd love to play all our games out there, get the flavor of playing it. I mean, obviously you need people in there to give it some kind of atmosphere. But when we held it there, I thought it was really good. I thought it was, as a basketball venue, it was first class. So I'd like to get out there again. And sounds like we're going to be refurbishing War Memorial. We're not going to tear it down and rebuild. It looks like we're going to just take it down to the walls and redo the thing. So hopefully,
the pictures look spectacular. What you guys, one of the things about UBC is that there's a there's a grand presence of the whole place. I mean, you know, I've only been in two. I was a college dropout, but when I went to, I've been to a lot of universities across the country, and there's only two universities that made me think like maybe I should have gone back to school. And one of them for sure is UBC, and Queens. I went to Queens one time, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. I like this place. I could have gone to school here. Now I forget that they wouldn't let me in, but that's a different story. But the facilities that in the diagram, I've seen the diagrams, the drawings. It's got to be very cool to have something coming like that in the pipeline with the facilities and the enhancements to the building and making it like a world-class venue, not even just like one of the top ones we have in Canada in sport, but like just legitimately a world-class venue.
Yeah. I mean, I know the LEC sort of has a stranglehold on the boys event right now and for the girls for a long time. And it's certainly something I would love to get tournaments back into there. You know, there are a lot of reasons. People said, well, it's far out there now, you got to pay for parking, but still, just that venue has so much character in it, you know, so much history as well. It needs to be shared. It needs to. I hope it doesn't lose the ambiance when you walk in there. Like I love opening the doors and just walking in there by myself and just taking a look around. And I certainly don't take it for granted that I'm there. And it's, you know, when we're bringing in recruits, they walk in and they're just wowed by the place. You know, it's a special place. And now when we've got the big jumbo screen on the side, it adds so much flavor to that as well. So,
absolutely, yeah. That's a differentiator for sure. Let's talk specifically about your university president for a second. I'm sure you've had a lot of people that have been very supportive over the years, but this guy seems to really get it. You know, he's got some vision, and he's really trying to take athletics to the next level, but he's also trying to take the university to the next level. Talk about what it's like having such a guy that's so supportive come in and really make such a huge impact on what you guys are trying to do. I know he helps you guys, you know, in every way that he possibly can. That's got to be such a huge advantage.
Quite frankly, he's an amazing man. I think he's been an outstanding president. For us, he's been just fabulous. He knows our guys' names. He's walking on campus. He comes to our games. He'll pop in. There's been times I've asked him, I said, hey, is it okay? Do you have time for a recruit? And I know you need, so you want me to book it with your assistants and whatnot? And he just goes, Kevin, just text me. And I remember one time we were bringing a recruit on, an Ontario guy, and he goes, okay. He texted me and I said, hey, we're on campus. Sorry, just taking a shot that you're on campus today or any chance at all. He goes, yeah, I've got a board meeting at 10 o'clock and that'll go till 10:45. And then I've got an appointment at 11, but I've got 5 minutes there. I'm by the gym, so I can meet you there or we can go somewhere else. And so he like out of his way just calls. He goes, you know what? No. He goes, do you want to come to my house maybe for dinner? Or do you want to come to my office and I'll show him some stuff? He has sports memorabilia. Of course, he came from Cincinnati. So he's got all this sports memorabilia, the footballs, the baseballs, all the guys that went through the Reds and everything else. And you go in there and he's just rattling off names of people that he's met and all the sportsmen. Like I'm saying, he sold me to go to the place. You know, the recruits, it's a little bit out of their memory range or before they were born, obviously. But just a fascinating man. And first time we brought a recruit in there, we walked in. And so I gave him some briefing notes on it. We got to his office. He came on out. I'm out there putting my hand out to shake his hand. He walked right past me, right to the recruit, said, hey, great to see you. Great to meet you. You know, tell me about yourself. Went right, and I just went, that's awesome. That's awesome. And he took about literally 30, 40 minutes out of his day. His receptionist came out and the assistant came out and said, yeah, the president of one of the universities in Australia, your call. He goes, I'll call him back. You know, taking the time for your institute. I mean, how many presidents are going to do that? Makes the time, comes to our games, knows the guys. He loves, you know, normally we throw out some mini basketballs to the kids and fans after the end of our games. Well, he's the first guy onto the floor. He wants to start throwing those things out. He's fantastic. Then he sends text messages. We're at the national championships this year. He was flying out to Montreal to give a speech. And he goes, Kevin, I'm just catching the part of the first game here. We were up we were up 30 at the time or something. He says, I think you got this one in hand. Good luck tomorrow. You got to watch out for this guy and this guy. So he had done his scouting on the teams we were going to be playing against Dalhousie. So it was it's really, I mean, it's special. When you get that kind of support, it doesn't happen everywhere. And that's all for all of athletics. He is a student's president for sure. And he certainly is, from my standpoint, he's a coach's president as well. He's done so many amazing things for us. And we're very, very fortunate that we've got him. And I hope he gets a second term because he's done some great things for us.
Well, I think it creates a better atmosphere, to be honest with you. I think one of the benefits of having a guy come from Cincinnati up to UBC is they understand the holistic approach to the entire university experience. Like, you're not getting kids to go to Cincinnati, unless you create a fantastic environment for kids to go to school. And so, kind of bringing that to UBC, it's kind of the first university, hopefully, that we get around here that takes it to the next level and really separates itself from everybody else. But I want to key on a couple of key players. Obviously, I'm not familiar with every one of your greats that you guys have coached, but I know specifically Randy Norris had a huge impact on your career as a player, and then coming back and being an assistant coach. I thought he was one of the best assistant coaches I've ever seen. You could tell that his toughness kind of translated to some of the players on the team, and I know that he was doing a ton of workouts with the kids. Talk a little bit about the impact he's had on your career and what that's been like.
He's, bottom line, I've got so much respect for Randy. One of my favorite human beings of all time. Obviously, because we shared so much together. He originally played at Fraser Valley, then he broke his wrist and was sitting out a year. And I remember calling Pat Lee and saying, "Hey, I don't know if he's your property anymore, but I'd like to talk to him if that's okay." And he goes, "Oh yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, no, good on Randy." So I remember taking him to a Grizzlies game. Him and James Maxim. He took him to a game, and I really loved. He was just on fire. He was sitting there analyzing the NBA guys. He was saying, "No, this guy should be doing this. Oh, they should trade that guy." And I'm sitting there going, "Wow, this is a lot coming from a 19-year-old kid." And but flat out, the winningest guy I think that's ever played basketball in BC, right down from his junior high championships to senior high championships when he Aldergrove playing with Neil Brown, 2 at Langara. St. Nevex, he went and got 2, went over to Europe and played, and he won a cup championship over there. It was basically Steve Nash's backup when they went to the Olympics, and got that opportunity, and just a fiery competitive guy. Like I said, we were 75-5 during his time at Langara. In the final game, the second year, he played 40 minutes. He scored 40 points, and it was our 40th win of the year. It's just an amazing, and we were down playing Dawson. We just, basically all we did, I said, "Okay, never done this before. This is really ridiculous, but we're just going to run this. You guys are coming off, just clear up that side of the floor. Randy, go right-handed." Randy went right-handed, score a layup. And we're running down the floor. I said, "Do it again." Randy goes, get out. So he ran guys through. He just went in, and he this time he had to stop and take a little 5-foot jumper. But just the desire to win. I've never seen that in anybody else of that. I mean, you watch The Last Dance, and you see that kind of thing, that kind of attitude out of Jordan. But you sit there, and I'm not putting them in the same class as a basketball player, but holy cow, the same mentality, just a flat-out winner. And when he played, I knew that was the one guy I wanted to have an assistant coach. He was when we got that first opportunity to Bob Phillip was the athletic director at the time, said, "Hey, we want to move in a direction, we want to support teams, let's get some full-time assistant coaches going." I called Randy, and he was playing overseas, and he just goes, "I'm there." And playing pros, it's a grind over there. You're in a different world. You're by yourself. The friends are there, and language barriers and whatnot. So, and you're not. He wasn't making enough to come back and buy 6 houses or run Airbnb places, So he had to come back and just from his intensity, and there's no soft side to Randy about it. It's black or white, and you either compete in it or win it, or just don't waste my time. And he brings out that winning attitude. And even now, it's still, we're very close friends right now. I've asked him every year. He's got his family that he's coaching now, and he goes, "Yeah, some parents can't handle me. Some kids can't handle me because they want to win, and I'm yelling at them, get them going." I'm going, "Damn, tone down a little bit." He goes, "No, why?" And I go, "All right, you be you." And and that's what's got him there, just that competitive fire. And even to this day, I'll be on road trips when we're on the road. I'll go for my walks, and I put my earphones on, and I call Randy, and we just talk about it. He watches the games, and I still respect him, and he gives me his thoughts on the game. He just loves talking shop. and watches our games. And I have him pop in every year. I have him talk to the guys just about fire, the competitiveness, and how to achieve and be good. And he's a special basketball mind for sure. One of the best minds, I think, in the province and in my basketball circles, wherever I've gone in life. That's a guy that I would hire to be a number one guy at any time.
Absolutely. Talk about your coaching tree. You've had a bunch of people that you've coached that have turned into pretty big coaches in our province that have coached elsewhere. Obviously, it's, you know, as a coach, it's a sense of pride to have somebody go out and do something great as a coach. Talk a little bit about that and some of the players that have kind of, you know, taken their games to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, good point, Anthony. You know, it's something I do take a lot of pride in. I think it's great to have, you know, and I said this at one point to Howard Smurr. I said, you know, Howard, if my legacy is going to be the number of people that we've put on that have gone on to coach and help others, I said I'm fine with that. You know what? I think it's a special thing when you share that with people. I love talking basketball. You know, it's funny with the BC's Jordan Yu. Every night he was texting me saying, "Hey, watch this little clip, and can you do this?" And just seeing his excitement, his fulfillment of it. And you know, the guys that have gone to coach the high school, guys that have gone and coached in the college system, and now guys are starting to coach into university levels, and it's a proud moment. I love it. You know, I sit there and go, could I have done even more for that guy? Could we have even talked more? Should I give him more responsibility to let him go or to let him go with things on the court? And you know, nowadays it's a tough gig to get into. There's only 49 of our jobs in the country at the university level. You know, I would love to have 2 or 3 full-time paid positions. I just think it's a great opportunity now, just with what from recruiting is nonstop to the kids that are going down south, and you got to recruit them to come back in. There's so many facets involved in coaching, as you know. You know, coaching the technical side, I think, is actually the easiest part. You know, there's a lot of things where you have to have your philosophy, and I love talking basketball, and I think there's not one way of doing things. I think there's several ways. As long as you can justify it and you have a rationale as to why you're making those decisions, then go with it. I learned a lot. You know what, to be quite honest, I absolutely loved coaching against you when you were at SDA. I would leave UBC, leave the Birds, and I would go to my Little Angels at Little Flower. And it was great. I mean, I was watching video to prepare how to play against you. I thought you did an outstanding job of coaching. You did an outstanding job of motivating the girls. And I had to pull out some stuff from the coaching tricks that I hadn't done against anybody else, is how we're guarding ball screens in a certain way and certain rotations. And wasn't sure if our girls could figure that out, but they did an okay job of it. And I absolutely loved coaching. I mean, that's the game within the game. And you were very respectful the whole time, which was awesome. You know, there was some resentment against me saying, "Oh, it's unfair that you're coaching a high school team." And I'm going, well, you know, it's my daughter's team. Hey, if someone wants to come and coach it, I'll be happy to.
Yeah, by the way, I'm not here because nobody wanted the job. I still remember we were coaching at the BC Catholics, and you started calling out our sideline plays. As I'm like, what the heck is going on here? And literally, like, one kid goes in, and like we had never, it hasn't happened since. It hasn't happened before that. There were people, and we've had a lot of really good coaches to coach against, but literally, you know, we have a sideline. If this kid goes here, that's the play. If this kid goes there, that's the play. And you were calling him out, and I was like, okay, well, I guess we're throwing sideline plays out today. But no, that's huge. And then getting a guy in the D League to run a team that used to play for you, that's got to be huge. Getting guys advancing in other levels, that's got to be fun. But let's talk specifically now about your playing style of your teams. I think one of the things that I like going out to UBC, you know, it is a trek for sure. And they've closed off all the roads and put bike lanes, and I don't ride a bike, so it takes an hour to get out there, even from North End. But watching the style play and the up tempo, talk about what gave you that idea to play that way? Because a lot of people, you know, Canada basketball forever, just trying to slow everything down. You know, there's a whole bunch of different things that are kind of going in the opposite direction, and you're kind of a pioneer around here about, you know, picking it up and speeding it up and playing at a high tempo. I remember the Jordan U teams. I loved watching those teams. Those were great. I didn't like Alex Murphy that much when he was a player, but friggin' I miss him now. I need to see him again. I need him back, you know, and you know, I just remember him. I was like one of these. He just kept throwing the ball up the court, and I've enjoyed watching that. Kind of give me the formula of how that happened and what kind of created that atmosphere.
when I played for Bruce had this, he calls it sequencing, and he was very creative. And Vic Pruden was another guy from Winnipeg that's sort of his mentor. Some people call it a sideline break. Some people call it different stuff. And it's, I mean, as every coach does, you take what you want out of a system, out of a coach, and you throw away the bad stuff or stuff that you don't think will be successful for you. And as a player, I like the tempo, fast stuff. And Bruce had a couple of quotes that I still cherish this day and use all the time. Tricky players win games, not tricky. Tricky players win games, not tricky plays, which is true. You can diagram anything, but the player still has to make the play, make the shot, break the play. And a big one was, he goes, you know, for some people, taking a shot within the first 5 seconds might be the best shot that you get. If you're the best player in a team and someone's playing, even in high school, you know, they're playing box ball. Raptors are doing it now. You play a box and one and triangle and two on something. That first shot might be the best shot that you get. And you know, I'd played for some coaches, and, you know, it was always about bring the ball up, and you got to run the UCLA high post, or you got to run the flex and the continuity stuff, and you got to get 2 or 3 reversals before you play, break the defense down. And then you see in the last 5 seconds of the shot clock, the percentages and efficiency just completely drops. I really like it. It's an NBA philosophy, and again, Jay was using this when he said with the national program that we break the clock up into the 8 seconds. And so I want to score 60, 70% of our points in that first 8 seconds. And really, what are you trying to do in basketball, even with an offense? You're trying to get a 1-on-0, 2-on-1, 3-on-2, a man power, player advantage. That's really what you're trying to do. And you know, nowadays it's coming down. And if you get the corner threes, the NBA, it's dunks or layups and fouls, corner threes, free throws, NP2s is called, no paint twos, so outside the paint, inside the 3-point line. But even now, the NBA trend is, as Jay was saying, is it's just getting deeper. So you see the Hardens, these guys, Curry. I mean, they're stepping back out and shooting the ball from so far. But what ends up happening is you think it's a bad shot. You know, we're told, you know, that you get higher percentage when you shoot in closer. Well, that's not the case. And so you get a shooter from deep there. What happens? The rebounds are popping way outside, and that's where the offensive players are. So I really love it. We've been, I think, 3 of the last 5 years, we've been number 1 in points for in Canada West. This year we were 94 points a game. I love this style. You know, probably at the detriment, you're giving other teams the opportunity to get more touches and score more as well. I've always been more of an offensive oriented coach, and I like the freestyle. I see that stuff, and just where my mind is at as I think going from what kind of geared my coaching sense was being that power forward or playing the 2 through 5 in high school. You learn those positions about when you don't get the ball as a post player, then having to play point guard and understanding it. So I think that really playing multiple positions actually helped me with my coaching philosophy. And so I love the up-tempo style. I mean, I think it puts you on edge. It's more entertaining. I think it's fun to play as a player, like get up and go. I didn't think we averaged 94 a game this year, and I didn't think we ran enough. I wanted us to run even more. So we're gonna. I think even next year, I'm super excited about even playing a more up-tempo style game, and not just rat ball and coming down and jacking shots and Loyola Marymount style of play. I'm not interested in that, but you know, in the 24-second shot clock, you're playing a good defensive team. Your studs, your best shooters, best scorers may only get the ball 2 touches in a possession, you know, against a good defensive team, and you're not getting to the rim. You know, you watch the national championships for U Sport. It's tough getting into the paint. You don't get many easy buckets. The top 8 teams in the country, you're earning stuff, and you got to be a little bit creative. And I think that's what we're trying to do is just, you know, put teams on the heat and put them on their heels a little early in transition. Look to attack. There's more spacing. There's more room to operate in that first 8 seconds. Like I said, it's not coming down and taking pull-up threes and, you know, losing possessions. But it's hard. Like, it's been really interesting to embrace the NBA analytics into our game. It's different because the talent level obviously is hugely different. But just to accept those early shots, sometimes they're okay. Even if you miss it, you're still getting in the style. And as you know, shooters need to have the confidence. You can't come down and just keep dumping on a shooter because he's going to lose his confidence and he's going to stop shooting. And so as a coach, I've had to sit there and have less body language, have less frustration, less verbal communication with them when they're taking those early shots. And sometimes scorers have to take some bad shots. And as I've always said, is a bad shot for, you is a good shot for our team. Meaning that you need to be getting shots. You need to get up 15 shots a game, maybe more. And you need, as a shooter, scorer, you need to get into that rhythm. So, long-winded answer for you, I know. But yes, I love that up-tempo style, learning the spacing, the flow, the symmetry out of the stuff that we do in the fast break. I took from Bruce Enns, listened to what he did. I tweaked it to the way that I wanted to do as a point guard, what I saw. And I think basketball is a simple game, but we make it hard. Coaches make it harder on their players sometimes and too complicated. We've gone from defending ball screens 6 different ways to, well, let's try 3 because you're confusing your players sometimes more often than not. Why don't you, when you get to the national championships and playoffs, it has to be habitual behavior, in my opinion. You can't sit there and just before game time, half hour, or the night before you're playing somebody different. Okay, tonight we're going to do actually the opposite of what we did last night. And they get in the moment, and there's, you get to the national championships and there's 8,000 people sitting in there, and all of a sudden you got to remember, hey, what this guy is doing, what our tactics are. And so it's sorry, again, get into the coaching side of things here, start going. But the up-tempo style is great. That's what we're going to do, and you're going to see more of that next year.
Well, the analytics of we'll just go ball screens for a second. The analytics of ball screens in the NBA say the reason they switch is because you get less uncontested shots, and contested shots actually lead to misses, and uncontested shots lead to make. That's why those guys are hitting those shots from so deep in the NBA. It's because nobody's guarding them 5 feet from behind the line, right? It's that Damian Lillard 3 that he hit when Paul George is like, that was a bad shot. And he's like, I don't know, looked pretty good to me, right? And it's the same kind of deal. One of the things that I've had the pleasure of doing is competing against some of the top teams in America with our club team. And it's funny, I get our coaching staffs are very good. I bring in the best coaches to coach with me. And, they're all like, we need 7 different types of ball screen. And I'm like, nah, you don't get it. Like, we have to be able to do it every single time. And we have to fight them on it. And it's got to be 1 or 2 things, because the doubt is actually what kills you. It's not what you're running. If you do it well, I remember listening to Randy Moore tell me at a coaching clinic one time, he goes, I had 2 moves. I had an inside out and I had an inside out behind the back. And if you had a problem with my inside out, I went inside out behind the back. He goes, I didn't need 7 moves. I just needed 1. And then if you stopped it, I went to the other one. He goes, and I played on the national team, so it worked. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And it makes a difference.
To be honest, this is one of my pet peeves about all this personal training stuff going on, and they're dancing with the ball in 6 moves, and then in the end you get a step back 3 off balance, which is the toughest shot to hit when the guy's still a 25% 3-point shooter. You got to be able to shoot stationary 3-point shots. Then you can learn how to dance around with the ball. If you're only shooting 25%, you probably shouldn't be shooting step backs.
Well, by the way, people are taking people out of context, right? James Harden, he takes a step back 3, he shoots it at 50%. So if you can shoot it at 50%, by all means, forget everybody else and let's do step back 3s the whole game. But if you're shooting it at 22%, what the heck are you doing, man? Stop doing that. It's bad for everybody.
And I even fight with some of my guys a little bit at the time, just sitting there going, I see them working on their step backs and the Harden stuff, and I'm going, like, take like, do you see your stats, man? Like take a look at it. And I say, if you can become a 40% 3-point shooter, you can play for any university in the country. It doesn't matter your size. If you can shoot 40% from 3, challenge 3s in game situations, you're going to have that opportunity to play anywhere you can. So I tell kids, just go get shots up. Shoot the 3. The 3 ball is now, that's the trend. That's what analytics has shown us. Just become that good a 3-point shooter. And you're going to find a place, and all this other dancing stuff, it's pretty, you get oohs and ahs, but hey, flat out, you got to win, and flat out, keep it simple.
All right, here's one of the last questions. Coaching at a lot of schools, I was talking to somebody who was applying for a job in the CIS, and they didn't get the job. And I'm like, you know what, dude, sorry to break it to you, but you didn't want that job anyway, because there's very few jobs where the expectations are, you need to win a national championship. Like, people talk about how UBC hasn't won a national championship. Well, my argument is the fact that you expect them to win a national championship means that they're doing something well. And so you got a lot of places where, it's like losing to UBC is actually, like, in a close game, is actually a successful season. Whereas at UBC, the expectation is you got to go win a national championship. Talk about what it's like being part of a program, which is probably there's only a handful of programs in the country where like you got to go win the thing, and what that's like.
Yeah, I get posed that question an awful lot, and obviously I wake up every day wanting to win a national championship, right? That's what drives me. That's why I'm here. That's what I'm paid to, partly paid to do, paid to run a program. We've qualified for national championships 12 out of the 20 years. You got to think now it's only 2 out of 17 teams make it in a given year. And it's tough. It is tough getting out of here. And it's tough playing in some places. It's tough with our travel, tough with the schedules changing again next year. I like that pressure. I thrive on it. I want our players to understand, like, you got to come here. Like, we're fighting for it. And to have that opportunity, first of all, you need to give yourself a chance. You got to get out of the province. It's not our goal just to make playoffs. That's not our goal. Our goal is to win a national championship. And, it's a tough thing to go, especially you're playing in Halifax, you're playing in Ontario, you're playing different places. All that stuff aside, you still have to find a way to get it done. And, I love there's expectations. UBC is an elite school in everything. They want the best in everything. And we're evaluated that way, and the pressure that's on there. And it's how you deal with that. In a game situation, players have to understand that there's pressure to win every game. And that's one of the things is you're trying to motivate them to play every single game. There's awful lot of coaches in this country that want to coach at UBC. I mean, why would you not want to? Great institution, great university degree, great city, great venue. Lots of super positives, and that fire to keep trying to compete and get there and win one. That keeps me going every day.
Yeah, absolutely. Last 2 questions. Question 1: talk about a big moment you've had to overcome, some adversity that you had to overcome to get to where you are today, and then how it kind of helped you get to the next level.
Good question. I mean, I think there's player relationships. You can't please everybody, and when you're recruiting people, they come from out of town. Everyone wants to start. Everyone wants to play that, and you put the more time and energy you put in with some guys, the more they just want to take from you, the more that they expect from you. They think it's easy, and so I don't know if there's one specific thing, but it's certainly having to compete at that high level all the time. I think that is a big challenge of how do you motivate yourself every single practice to get in there to make guys better, knowing that people circle. Every year I do it too. You circle the games. There's certain games in your head that you go, that's the one. We're playing STA in 3 weeks. I'm excited about that one now. So you start thinking about those games and your rivals. UVic has always been my rival. As a player, when I was playing, they had won their national championships. We were the team that knocked them off their 7-year run at War Memorial. I mean, that was absolutely incredible to go through. And so I think that's the big thing is just that day-to-day pressure, and anything at UBC is a big deal because it is UBC. I think from media to anything that happens, it's a bigger picture because we are a big institution, and there's expectations, and there's trials and tribulations in everything in life. And like I say, it's how you deal with them. You can run and hide, or you can fight, make it stronger. You have talented players that quit for whatever reason. That's a tough thing to swallow. You've done everything in your power to make them as good as they can be, to do things, and you can't control people's minds and what they want. And I think and you even look at people that are transferring nowadays. The U.S. they had over 1,000 in Division I transfer schools. You're looking at under 400 D1 teams. I mean, you're looking at 2.5, 3 guys per team that are changing programs, and you see it more and more happening now. And it's tough when you're building a program. And before, we used to recruit on a 5-year basis, going, okay, here's our grid for 5 years. So we know we've got these positions, and so you're sort of picking out here and looking at how you get that team in 5 years still to maintain where we want to be, competing for national championship every year. And so all of a sudden something happens, an injury or a player quits, and all of a sudden you're playing catch up and you're getting other guys into there. And now we had a consultant can come and talk to us as a department and talk to coaches. And they said, well, basically this generation, the loyalty's kind of gone out the window, and you're developing, and even in business world, you're developing someone for 1 or 2 years, and then they're going to go for your competitor. So you're teaching them to go and compete against you, basically. And so I think if you did a measure of the programs, even in the States and in Canada, the number of players that are staying for 5 years it's getting smaller. And people's opinions are changing, and I think part of that is you look at the influence of the NBA. Kawhi, he leaves and goes somewhere. LeBron leaves and goes somewhere. They're all going. They want to play with their buddies, or they want to go and greener pastures over here. I've done that, been in that city. Don't really like that city. I'm going over here. Some people just need change, and so I think that's a big part of where we are now. Back in the day, even myself, we used to recruit a lot of the colleges. The BCCAA. When I first started at UBC, we would have 2 or 3 players coming out of, the Fraser Valleys, the Langaras, the Douglas Caps. Because why? You'd get a guy with 2 years experience. That's flat out. They have 2 more years of experience at a high level competing, as opposed to someone coming out of high school. Just even from the social development to, academics to everything else in life, lived on their own or gone through some of these trials and tribulations as a player. And are driven, they want the playing time. They're hungry to play. So it's times have really changed. So I think that would be kind of the most difficult. Well, honestly, I'm a firm believer in the system that I've got and the ability of what we've done, winning the championship, certainly at Langara, and winning the Canada Games, and the success we've had at the World University Games. We won a silver medal against Serbia, and we beat them in the round robins. First time they had lost in 4 FISU games. And, so the belief I have in myself is still there, still going strong. And, but when we lost those national championships, the second national championship at U Sport, that was a tough one to swallow. We were up 10 after the first quarter, 5-point game, and then it was 5 points down the stretch. And, we got picked a couple of times bringing the ball up the floor. Just a tough way to end it in the national championship. And you go, it's so hard. That journey to get to that game is so hard, as you know, and to make the best of it once you get to there. It's a tough challenge, and you either have to fight, accept it, stand up and fight, take the hits, take the blows. How many times, like you relate it to a boxing match, you can take punches so many times and you can get back up, and then until you have the knockout punch against you. You still get up and keep fighting.
Self-doubt creeps in, right? And you start asking yourself, did I do it right? Did I not do it right? Should I have done something different? What's this and that? And, I'm going to translate it to my business for a second. Obviously we're going through a little bit of an interesting time right now, but, we just had somebody decide to leave after over 9.5 years. And, I had a couple options. I can get angry, which I didn't, or you can start thinking like, what was it me? Was it them? And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. As long as they're happy and you're happy, on to the next one. We got a new game and we got to win. You know what I mean? Like I got a plan for tomorrow. So if they're not going to be here, that's fine. That's their decision. We got to win tomorrow. How do I find a way to win tomorrow? What's the next plan? Does it help me to think about it anymore? No, it doesn't help me to think about it anymore. Can I create a better environment for the next group of people? Maybe they'll stick around. Maybe. Sure. Let's try to figure out what maybe could we have done that would make them better, or that they wouldn't want to leave, or whatever. Or at the end of the day, whatever. It's all good. Let them go. And if they find happiness, good for them. And if they don't, doesn't matter either, because I'm worried about what we're trying to control.
Exactly.
We got our own problems, right? Like I can't worry about other people's problems. I got my own issues I got to figure out. And so, we got the pipeline. Is the pipeline strong? Do we have a backup at the position? I literally think about business the same way I think about sports. Like, do we have a backup at the position? Can somebody step in and fill the role? If the answer is yes, then we've done a good job prepping. If the answer is no, okay, now that's my fault. I gotta actually figure that out. What am I doing that I gotta get the pipeline ready? We got backups at every position here of any case. Honestly.
And that's through the business guys, David Nelson, David McLean, 2 big donors with our program and supporters. And David McLean, he was chairman of the board for CN Rail for 20 years and chairman of the board at UBC. He just said you have to have a contingency place and plan so that when something happens to a key component, you got the next one ready to go, because stuff is going to happen in business and basketball and whatever. And it's how you handle that. And it's about, if you dwell on it and let it drag you down, you're going to be dragged down. It's going to hurt you. Have the next one in place so it's a smooth transition and go. And one of the things that I've done that I've absolutely loved, I don't know if you're on the distribution list or not, but I've started, since this COVID, I've started to ask alumni and friends of the program to give us their bios since leaving UBC. So each week we send out 3 bios. So guys are sending them into us through over the years. Started with the guys in my era, then gone through Bruce's, and now we're going into the Peter Mullins and prior. It is awesome. Like those relationships, the friends, the people that have stuck with you, and just hearing, their kind words and what they're doing, the success stories that are there. I'm going like, holy cow, have we had some successful guys go through, and what, they got a lot, UBC gave them a lot, but they got a lot out of UBC. They gave us a lot, but they also took a lot and got a lot out of it. And, in lots of vast variety of occupations, and it doesn't matter what it is. And everyone's definition of success is different. And what I tell people in clinics and things is, your definition of success, it's only your definition of success. You can hope other people think what success is and you justify it, but I know what success means to me. The fulfillment, I know what loyalty means to me. And I want to have, once I'm gone from the basketball side of things, if I'm ever gone, if you can ever escape it, I'm sure when I'm not at UBC anymore, I'm going to be in the gym coaching and hopefully coaching grandkids, et cetera. But because sport is such a great thing, but like listening to those people just talk about in their memories and thanking the memories, and they lose touch with those people that were there. Universities, high school and university, it's the greatest time of your life. Like, you think studying for an exam is a stressful time. Well, that's not stress. As you know, as a businessman, making sure you got enough money to pay your employees, that's stress, because they've got to feed their families. And so your definition of success, you're hugely successful in my opinion, as a person, as a coach, and you're an entrepreneur, and talking to our entrepreneurs that are some of our greatest contributors, and they said you either are successful, or you're an entrepreneur, or you're not. Don't try to be. It's like when I say, when you're doing public speaking, if you're not funny, don't try to be funny, because the first joke that doesn't work, you're nervous, and then it's downhill, and then it's just awkward. So just being yourself. And but I think I'm very proud of what we're doing at UBC. I'm loving what I'm doing, and hopefully I got a lot more years left to contribute to the sport of basketball.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, there's that famous quote, what if I educate this person and give them everything I have and make them better, and we make them as good as possible, and then they leave. And then, the actual one is, what if they stay and you don't? So you got to give them everything anyway. And then if it works out, great. And if it doesn't, that's good. Let them go somewhere else. But if they stay, you got to give them everything, because if you hold anything back, you're the one who's not benefiting. So, we got the pipeline ready to go, and we're going to find out if we've done a good job or not here pretty soon. So, last question: if you could go back in time and give Kevin Hanson at a younger age, you're still young, but younger version of Kevin Hanson, a piece of advice on how to, maybe think about this, maybe ponder this idea, what would that one piece of advice be?
Wow. That's a great question. I really think it is, find out what, your niche in life, and just go through it and put everything you can into it. Don't take things for granted. I think at times I did take things for granted. I think, earlier on, I think if you talk to a lot of coaches, I mean, a couple of the that I've seen from your interviews here, I think coaches get cocky a little bit at times early on in their careers and have some form of success, and all of a sudden it's, you're up here, you're beating somebody. Well, it's not you beating them, it's the players that are getting taken in. I think earlier on in my career, it took me a while to figure it out, but the saying that I use now all the time is preparation. The key to success is preparation. And I think the more prepared you are, I wanted to beat STA in particular. I kind of wanted to beat you, and
Well,
You know
you
what?
even, yeah, I mean, if we're going to get specific about that since you brought it up 4 times already. I remember you went late to a national championship game just so that you could be there for our provincial quarterfinal game. And I was like, if Kev doesn't show up, we're going to win this game. And I'm just like, Kev, don't show up, don't show up, don't show up. And we had just beaten the #1 team in the Fraser Valley. It was like a 3-14 upset. And I was like, we're ready to go. They've beaten us like 3 times this year by 25, 30 points. I'm like, but this is the one. And when you walked in that door, I was just like, this just
But that passion and love, you know what? The playing against you, those games, not getting any money for it, but just meant that internal drive, the intrinsic reward to play those games and to try to take a product, to take a group of young girls, the little angels, and try to get them to build a team. That was so fulfilling. And I think, so, you know, to answer your question, I think the advice I would give is don't worry about the external factors and impressing everybody else. It's the intrinsic rewards that's the most important. And only you know if you're fulfilling your dreams and your expectations yourself. Don't worry what the naysayers have. Everyone's got naysayers. Everyone has their haters out there in the world, especially now with social media and stuff. You know, that's just noise. That's just noise. But intrinsically, spend more time focusing on yourself and being a good person and making yourself happy. And I think you'll last longer in this world and less stress in your life.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I think there's a lot of really good tidbits for some people. I appreciate you taking the time. Thank you so much, Kev.
Thank you, Anthony. Have a great summer.
You